Good morning, students. So in the last class, we started a new chapter, the cell, the unit of life. In that, we have already covered to some extent. So first, what we discussed, what is a cell? Cell, as we all know, it is a structural and functional unit of life, isn't it? Then we discussed about the cell theory, all the postulates. So when you are seeing the postulates of cell theory, it was said that cell is the basic structural unit, functional unit. So all activities are carried out by what? The cells, the products of the cells or the cell itself. And thereafter we discussed that all cells comes from pre-existing cells. So these were the three points which we discussed, and it was put forth by a botanist Claydon, zoologist Swan, and you can find Ralph Carmichael put forth that all cells are coming from pre-existing cells. So these three scientists worked in the means making of both the cell theory. Then we discussed about what is the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. We started with the structure of a prokaryotic cell. In that, what we discussed about the structure of a bacterial cell, isn't it? So bacterial cells, how many layers are there? There are 3 layers, isn't it? So 1, 2 and 3. So what is the last outer layer? It is called as glycocalyx. Then we discussed about the cell wall. Then we discussed about the what? Glycocalyx, cell wall and the cell membrane, isn't it? So then we have discussed that there is a bacterial chromosome, the genomic chromosome, the DNA, and there is an extra chromosomal DNA which we call it as what? The plasmid, isn't it? Then the cytoplasm, ribosomes are present, and they are having filament, means flagella. Then you can find fimbriae are present, and thereafter there is for conjugation, sexual reproduction, there is a structure present called as what? The sex pili. So these all we have discussed. Now we are going into the next topic, that is the
ribosomes. Okay. So what is ribosomes? So ribosomes, you can find the structure of the ribosome will be like this. So ribosomes are structures which are present in the plasma membrane, attached to that of the plasma membrane in prokaryotic cells. Okay. So in eukaryotic cells are also present. But what is the difference? Now when you are seeing these ribosomes, the ribosomes are present in the plasma membrane in prokaryotic cells, as well as they are out 70S unit. Okay. So what do you mean by the 70S? 70 here, S is standing for, is signifying a symbol. What is the symbol? It is Sedberg unit. What is it? It is Sedberg unit. Now, what is the difference between the eukaryotic ribosome and a prokaryotic ribosome? Listen carefully. In case of prokaryotic ribosome, it is 70S, and in case of eukaryotic ribosome, it is 80S. Okay. So eukaryotic ribosome, the Sedberg unit, when you are seeing how much it is 80S, and for prokaryotic it is 70S. Now this 70S, when you are seeing, look into the diagram, it is made up of 2 units. 2 units combined together, it is giving 70S. What is 70S? Sedberg unit. Sedberg unit, it is a centrifugation. Centrifugation, you may be knowing, settling down based on the density. Okay. So that is one unit. So when you are seeing the 70S unit of ribosomes, they are made up of 2 subunits. So this is the smaller, lighter unit, and this one is the heavy subunit. So how many units are there? So one small unit is there and one big unit is there, isn't it? So these two together is forming a ribosome. Now this small unit and big unit, how it is distributed, you see, 50 plus 30. The bigger one is 50S and the smaller one is what? 30S. Now what the question comes, when it is 50 plus 30, then the answer should be how much? It should be 80, right? But why 70? Isn't it? So the question usually comes. So one is a bigger unit which is having the sedimentation coefficient in centrifugation to that of it 50S, and other one is 30S. So why, when it is clubbed together, it is becoming 70S? So listen why it is happening so. So what happens is that when 50 and this 70, they sit together, 50 and this 30 sit together. So this is 50 and the other one is 30. When they sit together, you can find 10 is being submerged, means one is sitting on the other, creating a pressure, and this sum of part of this is getting where? Immersed over here. So in this portion you can find what it is happening, it is becoming 70. Okay. The same in case of your eukaryotic ribosomes, they are having okay, 40S as well as they are having what? They are having 60S. Okay. Now what will happen is that when the smaller unit sits over the larger unit, this place, this is being taken, it's been reduced, the size is reduced for the same. So it becomes how much? 80, which means that 20S is present over here, where this common for both this subunit as well as this subunit, because of which it becomes what? It becomes 80S. Okay. So here 30 plus 50 is equal to 70S, where in prokaryotic ribosomes. Okay. So they are made up of two subunits. What are they? 50S and 30S, which when present together, so when they are coming together, in the middle a part is shared by both, that has to be reduced. Okay. So that is becoming how much? It is becoming 70S prokaryotic ribosomes. Ribosomes are site of protein synthesis. Listen carefully students, you will be discussing about the same in detail in class 12. As of now, you know to know that for synthesizing protein, there is 2 steps involved. Okay. How many steps are there? There is 2 steps involved. So whatever protein my body need to make, it has to be determined by the gene which is present in my body. So the genes are only coding for specific proteins. Now where is the genes present? The genes are present in the DNA. So from the DNA, when you are seeing the mRNA, there is an RNA called as what? mRNA is being made. From this mRNA only what is made? Protein is made. Okay. So there is a process. This process, when you are seeing, from DNA a gene is being copied to mRNA. Okay. So the mRNA is copying the gene, and thereafter they are helping in the production of this protein. This is a single step, means you can find this is a step. Here DNA to mRNA, the process we call it as transcription. What do we call them? We call it as transcription. And this mRNA to protein, we call it as translation. What do we call them? We call it as translation. So DNA to mRNA is transcription, and mRNA to, so DNA to mRNA is what? It is transcription, and mRNA to protein is what? Translation. So any protein has to be made. This is the process by which the proteins are made. Central dogma of protein synthesis we call. Okay. So for this, when you are seeing, for making of this mRNA as well as for helping in synthesizing of the proteins, there are involvement of whom? This ribosomes. So several ribosomes are attaching to what? This mRNA, and they help in the formation of a chain. We call it as what? Polyribosomes. And this polyribosomes are undergoing, means mRNA with the ribosomes, they are undergoing translation process and they are making protein. So what is the function of ribosome? If simply asked, 1 mark answer, protein synthesis. They are helping in what? Protein synthesis. But how? If the question is asked, then you have to say that this ribosomes are coming in contact with that of what? The mRNA, while after transcription, thereafter they are helping in the formation of polyribosomes, which helping in translation process to convert it into protein. So since they are involved in translation process, we signify them as protein making or synthesizing units. Okay. So this is the regarding your ribosomes. Hope it's clear. Polyribosomes or polysomes translate the mRNA into protein. Okay. So here you can see the diagram here very clearly, it's given. You can find mRNA is present. So this green is the mRNA, this is the ribosomes. These ribosomes are helping in the production of this protein. How? You will learn in class 12. As of now, you just need to know that protein synthesis is controlled by whom? This ribosomes, right? By a process called as translation, they are playing a major role. Now moving on to the last part of the prokaryotic cell is your inclusion bodies. You can find in a prokaryotic cells many bodies are present which are storing some substances. Okay. So what are the different inclusion bodies or reserve food materials are stored in some structures. So those structures we call it as what? We call them as inclusion bodies. So reserve materials in prokaryotic cells are stored in the cytoplasm in the forms of inclusion bodies, right? It can be like granules. Granules means what? Spherical structure with large of things deposited in those structures, it's present. Synophysian granule, glycogen granule, phosphate granule. So, any nutritive substances can be stored inside a spherical structure, we call it as what? The granules, right. And some of the gases are also stored in case of this prokaryotic cells. So, those gases which are stored, we call it as what? Gas vacuoles. What do we call them? Gas vacuoles. So, in blue green algae, when you are saying nitrogenous gases, all those things can be stored with the help of what? Some inclusion bodies. These inclusion bodies, we call it as what? Gas vacuoles. With this, we are winding up with the prokaryotic cell, and now we are moving into the eukaryotic cell. Listen carefully, students. Now, this eukaryotic cells, when you are saying plant cell, animal cells are coming under eukaryotic cell, and you already have some idea about the same. You have learned in your class 9. Now, the first part of the eukaryotic cell, what we are going to discuss is the cell wall, right. So, the cell wall is the thing which we are going to discuss. So, before that, you can see diagram showing one is your A is your plant cell and B is your animal cell. So, what is this? This is a, you can find this one is animal cell, and this is your plant cell. Okay. So, you can find this is your animal cell and this one is your plant cell. Plant cells are having somewhat hexagon like structure, animal cells are somewhat oval in nature. So, these are the differences, and you can find some parts are present in plant cells which is absent in animal cells. Okay. So, that you can find it out from the diagram, like you can find cell wall in case of plant cell, the cell wall is absent in case of animal cells, isn't it. You can find chloroplast or plastids in case of plant cells, and you cannot find it in the animal cells. You can find a structure called as centrosome. What you can find? You can find centrosome, centrioles in case of animal cell, but you cannot find the structure in the plant cell. Okay. You can find big vacuoles where in the plant cell, but you cannot find the structure, the bigger one. Smaller ones are present, but the bigger vacuoles are absent in what? The animal cell. So, some differences are present in both plant as well as the animal cell, that you just have to observe the diagram and you can make it out, right, or else I will be giving notes, and that also the differences can be seen. Okay. Now, moving on to the first part of a plant cell, that is the cell wall. Okay. Cell wall, outermost covering, tough rigid covering, and whenever the plant cell dies also the cell wall remains intact, because of which you can find the wood and all is having its own shape. In spite they do not have a bone skeletal system, the cell wall is giving them what? A framework. Okay. So, even dead they are intact. Why? Because they are made up of very hard substances, cellulosic substances, that is why they are much harder in nature. Okay. Now, the cell wall, when you see, the cell wall is made up of 3 parts. Okay. We are going to discuss about the cell wall. The first formed wall, okay, somewhat softer, okay, that one we call it as primary wall. What do we call them? We call them as the primary wall. Later, when the plant grows, okay, they are becoming much older. In that case, secondary growth is taking place. What do you mean by secondary? The young parts and all, meristematic parts and all is over. Now, permanent structures they are going to develop. So, while they are starting to develop this permanent structure, which means the plant has grown up to some extent, now they are going to go for being an adult, going to develop reproductive structures like that. So, that time you can find the plant is undergoing what? Secondary growth. In case of secondary growth, the cell not like the herbs, means you can find they are becoming what? They are becoming much harder in nature. They are developing much harder cell wall. We call it as what? The secondary wall. What do we call them? We call them as the secondary wall. Inside, inner to it, in the plant cell, you can find what? The plasma membrane, or as already said, selectively permeable membrane, or differentially permeable membrane, or semi-permeable membrane, or simply cell membrane. Okay. So, that is present inner to it. So, the green color, what you see, the coating, we call it as what? We call them as the primary wall. Inner to is the secondary wall, the brown one, and inner to it, the yellow color, you can find that is your plasma membrane. Now another one structure is present called as what? The middle lamellae, which is connecting the cells. Okay, all the cells are tightly attached with one another with the help of the structure you can find in the center, which is present adhering to all these cells. So this structure we call it as what? Middle lamellae, and they are made up of calcium pectate, which is acting like a glue, you know, gum, which is keeping all the cells intact. So that is the function of what? The cell wall. Hope so it's clear. Now just we will read down. Cell wall of a young plant, when you are seeing its primary wall, and it is capable of growth, they can grow. And when the cell is maturing, they are getting converted into what? The secondary wall, which is formed of an inner towards membrane. Yeah, it's inner to the primary wall. Then there is a middle lamella made up of calcium pectate, and they are gluing the different neighboring cells. Fine. The cell wall, the middle lamella, may be traversed by plasmodesmata. Yeah, you can find structures, okay, like this, connecting structures between two cells. So these connecting structures, gap junctions, are referred to as plasmodesmata. So from here, any messages or any things, molecules can be transferred from one cell to the another through the connecting structures. We call it as what? We call them as plasmodesmata. Okay. So which connects the cytoplasm of the neighboring cells. So these are the holes which are connecting. So these holes, you can find these holes, they are helping in connecting the cells from one cell with that of the other. Okay. With this, we are completing a cell wall, and then we are moving on to the cell membrane. Listen very carefully. Very important question, 3-mark question. Cell membrane, right? Or the plasma membrane. What that Sinker and Nicholson said is that they proposed the model of the plasma membrane. They studied the structure of plasma membrane, and they proposed a model for the same. The name of the model is fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Okay, so they said that the plasma membrane is fluid mosaic in nature. What do you mean by this? Okay, now we are going to learn about the fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane, how the structure of plasma membrane is, how it is made up of what and all is present in it. That's what we are going to see now. Okay, now fluid mosaic model. So when you are seeing this plasma membrane, this is the plasma membrane. Okay, to be more clear, you can find it over here. Plasma membrane is made up of phospholipid bilayer. What it is made up of? It is made up of phospholipid bilayer. So this is one bilayer and this one is one bilayer. Okay, this bilayer, when you are seeing, they are made up of two substances. One is your head and another one is your tail. One is your head and another one is your tail. Now this head and tail, they are made up of this phospholipid, but they are having some characteristics. What is the characteristics? When you are seeing this hydrophilic, heads are hydrophilic in nature. What do you mean by hydrophilic? They are water lovers. They love water. They can stay in water. So that one we call it as what? Hydrophilic. Okay. And when you are seeing these tails are hydrophobic in nature. What do you mean by hydrophobic? Hydrophobic means they hate waters. They are scared of waters. Okay. So you can find where the plasma membrane is on the medium is usually water. So obviously the heads will be present on the outer parts, isn't it? So you can find where here the head is present and here the head is present. Inner only you can find what? The hydrophobic tail. The heads are present on the outer border. Okay, that is number one. Now when you see this, lipid molecules are present where? On the head you can find what? The lipid molecules are present. Along with that, you can find many other things like glycogen granules will be present in between the cell membrane. You can find many proteins are present in the cell membrane. Okay, along with the phospholipid bilayer, there are proteins. So what are the proteins? Proteins, when you are saying, this is what? Protein molecule. So this is a protein molecule, this is a protein molecule. This protein molecule can be of two types. Okay. So what are the two different types of proteins when you are seeing? One is your extrinsic protein and another one is your intrinsic protein. Okay. So one is your extrinsic protein and another one is your intrinsic protein. What do you mean by extrinsic protein? The protein molecule which are present on the surface of the plasma membrane, we call it as what? Extrinsic protein, outside, okay. And intrinsic or integral protein, when you see what is that, it is the protein which is present inside the plasma membrane, okay. Along that, with that I told you they are having cholesterols, okay. Cholesterol will be present where? In the plasma membrane. So, this is regarding your fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Why they gave the term fluid mosaic, that's we need to learn, okay. Now, we are moving on to, just we will read on. Proteins and substances such as cholesterol become embedded in the bilayer, I told you. Fine, base, we will start from here. The plasma membrane that surrounds these cells has two layers, okay, a bilayer of phospholipid. Each phospholipid has a head and a tail. Head is hydrophilic in nature and tail is hydrophobic in nature. Both the layers have the hydrophilic head pointing outside and hydrophobic tail pointing inside of the bilayer. Hope it's clear. Now, proteins, cholesterols are embedded within the bilayer, giving a look like a mosaic look, okay. So, mosaic flows you would have seen, isn't it? That sort of look they have. Because of the plasma membrane, they have the consistency of what? The vegetable oil. Like vegetable oil, substances can move in and move out easily. They are not that stiff enough, okay. They are not that hard enough, like cell wall, they are not that hard enough. Even if the pores and all are not present also, some substances can easily move in and move out, like along with the oil they can mix up and they can easily come in and come out, but all the substances cannot. That is why the name is selectively permeable. Some substances they allow to take entry, some substances they allow to move out. They select and allow things to get in and get out, okay. So, why they have a consistency of what? The vegetable oil. At body temperature they are like having the properties of what? The vegetable oil. The proteins and other substances can easily move across it, okay. They can move, it is not that rigid, they are not placed where they have to be. They can move easily from one place to another within this bilayer. That is why it is called as fluid mosaic. Like fluids, they flow, isn't it? They cannot stay in one place. So, here also this integral protein, cholesterol, they can move within the bilayer. That is why the name is called as what? Fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Now, proteins can be classified as integral and peripheral. Peripheral I told you, extrinsic, integral is intrinsic protein. Peripheral protein lie on the surface of the membrane, while the integral proteins are partially or totally buried in the membrane. It is present inside the membrane, okay. So, that is your fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane. Next, we are moving on to your substances can move into this plasma membrane in two methods, okay. That is what we are going to discuss. Listen very carefully. So, when the molecules move, the molecules can move by two ways, okay. Molecules of water, whatever it is, molecules here we are discussing can move by two ways. So, what are the two ways? One is your passive transport and another one is your active transport, okay. So, one is active and another one is passive. Listen very carefully. What do you mean by passive transport and what do you mean by active transport, okay. Now, listen, I told you molecules can move how? With passive as well as an active way. So, what is passive? This is a plasma membrane, okay, and you see this one is the another cell. Substances from this cell through the plasma membrane has to move and get into this cell, okay. They can move one way. I told you what? It is passive. Passive means what? Here imagine the molecules, calcium molecules or any molecules are present in higher concentration, okay. So, here how many are present? 100 is present, but here you can find only 50 molecules are present. Now, substances, this 100 molecule, that molecule can move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration passively. Passively means what? There is no need of energy. Substances, when you just, for an example I can tell you, simple diffusion. You are applying perfume, okay. You are sitting in one corner of the room, there you are taking and applying the perfume. In the beginning, you can find the one who is nearer to it can smell it. After some time, what will happen? The one who is away from them also can smell the same, right? So, what is happening? The perfume molecules are moving where the perfume was sprayed was in higher concentration. From there, through the air it is moving and reaching the, they are covering most of the areas, isn't it? So, Molecules, what they do, they move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. This one we call it as what? Simple diffusion. Here what is not needed? Energy is not needed. Nothing is needed, okay. To spend energy and move, no. It's just moving just like that, it is happening. So this type of movement we call it as what? Passive transport. Molecules without the requirement of energy, ions or molecules are moving from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. Another one is what? Another one is your active transport. What is happening in active transport? That's what we are going to see now. Active, the case is ulta. What is it happening? You can find this is one cell membrane and this one is another cell membrane. Now here it is how much? Here it is 100 and here it is 50. But molecules, for here in this cell some activities has to be carried out, for which they need more number of molecules, the same molecules, okay. Now how the molecules will be moving? Molecules will be moving from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration. Here 100 is there, in spite some molecule is needed for carrying out some process, so they are taking it from here, okay, where it is already present less. Now when they are taking it from here, from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration, they have to undergo some process, okay. They have to spend some energy to take from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration. So this sort of process we call it as what? We call them as active transport. It is taking place by a mechanism called as sodium potassium pump, which you will be learning in your higher, means other chapter you will be learning, okay. Transport in plants, in that you will be covering active transport. Hope it is clear. Yeah. So many molecules can move briefly across the membrane without any requirement of energy. So without requirement of energy, from a region of higher concentration to a region of low concentration, we call it as what? The passive transport. Now water is also moving, like ions, molecules, water also moves from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane, isn't it? So that process, when it comes to water, we use the term what? Diffusion through a semi-permeable membrane. For water we use the term osmosis. What is the term used? Osmosis, okay. So osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So that is the plasma membrane, helps in the movement of water. Plasma membrane helps in the movement of ions or molecules. If it is moving from high to low without any requirement of energy, passive. When it is moving from low to high with spending some energy, it is called as what? Active, and it is taking place by a pump called a sodium potassium pump, which you will learn later. Now moving on to the next part. So we have discussed cell wall, we have discussed cell membrane. Now we are moving on to a structure called as endoplasmic reticulum. So what is the structure we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss about what? This endoplasmic reticulum, which is present near the nucleus. You can find the endoplasmic reticulum is present in both plant as well as the animal cell. So this is the structure of endoplasmic reticulum. You can find this is the nucleus and this one is the endoplasmic reticulum. This endoplasmic reticulum, when you are seeing, they are like this tubular structure. They are having inner fluid. The white one is the inner fluid and the blue color outside also they are having connections filled with what? The fluid, isn't it? And in some of the endoplasmic reticulum you can find round structure, bead like structured black dots are present. So that one we call it as what? The ribosomes. If the ribosomes are present in the endoplasmic reticulum, we call them as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and if the ribosome is absent in the endoplasmic reticulum, we call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum, okay. So this one you can find this is smooth because what is not there? Dot 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 is not there. Ribosomes are absent. So it is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and this one is your what? Rough endoplasmic reticulum, okay. So these are the structure of endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum divides the intracellular space into two distinct compartments. I told you they are dividing it into two distinct. So intracellular space is being divided into two distinct compartments. One is the inner white one, okay, and another one is what? The outer part, okay. So luminal inside in ER and extraluminal, that is in the cytoplasm. One is present in the cytoplasm. The blue is present in the cytoplasm and the white is inner, okay. So endoplasmic reticulum is dividing into two distinct compartments. One is the luminal inside endoplasmic reticulum and another one is the extraluminal, that is in the cytoplasm. The endoplasmic reticulum bearing ribosomes on the surface are called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. Absence of ribosomes, they appear smooth, and then they are called as what? Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And what is the function? Since the ribosomes are present, obviously they help in what? Protein synthesis. They help in secreting some substances, as well as when you are seeing this SER, that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, playing a major role. They don't have ribosomes, right? So protein synthesis it's not doing, it is doing the synthesis of lipids. They help in the synthesis of lipids. Lipids means what? Oil, okay, is secreted by whom? The smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Other than that, from the endoplasmic reticulums only you can find the Golgi bodies, and lysosomes are also coming, okay. Listen carefully. So, Golgi apparatus. So, the next cell organelle what we are going to discuss is Golgi apparatus. So, first cell organelle what we discussed is what? It was endoplasmic reticulum. The second cell organelle what we are going to discuss now is your Golgi bodies. Whether this endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, lysosomes are present in prokaryotes? No, it is not present, okay. Now, this Golgi apparatus, okay, how the Golgi apparatus look? It looks like this, right? So, in the plant cell or the animal cells, if you want to see the Golgi apparatus, so you can find this is the Golgi apparatus, okay. So, this Golgi apparatus characteristic feature, when you are seeing this Golgi apparatus was first discovered by Camillo Golgi. He was the first who observed Golgi bodies, okay. So, how is this Golgi bodies formed? This one also you should know that. This is rough endoplasmic reticulum. From the endoplasmic reticulum only what is formed? This Golgi bodies are formed. From the Golgi bodies only what is formed? The lysosomes are formed. So, Golgi bodies, basically speaking, they are formed from where? The endoplasmic reticulum. So, Golgi body is made up of flat disc shaped sacs. These disc shaped sacs we call it as what? We call them as cisternae. What do we call them? Cisternae. So, this is the disc shaped sacs, like this, the sacs will be present, isn't it? So, these sacs we call it as what? We call them as cisternae, okay. And when you are saying the diameter, how much the diameter will be? It will be 0.5 micrometer to 1 micrometer. They are stacked parallel to each other. Yes, when I am drawing, one is parallel to the other. They are parallel to one another, okay. So, that is another characteristics. The Golgi cisternae are concentrically arranged near the nucleus. Yeah, they are arranged where? Near the nucleus. So, just near the nucleus you can find the Golgi apparatus will be arranged. So, where it is present like this you can find here and all will be Golgi apparatus will be present just concentrically in the form of a circle, it will be present around, okay. So, that is another one characteristics of what? This Golgi apparatus, and they are having two portions, okay, distinct places. One is convex cis or forming phase, and another one is concave trans or maturing phase. What is convex cis and concave trans? See, one is this convex inner side you have to see. So, here the nucleus is, this is the Golgi bodies, isn't it? So, where it is just forming, the Golgi body is starting to form near the nucleus, the phase is what? It is convex in nature, isn't it? Inner part you have to see. So, this one is convex, and when you are seeing they are moving away from the nucleus, it is becoming what? Concave. Inner part is what? Cave like, isn't it? So, concave. So, inner, everything which is forming nearer to the nucleus it is convex, away from the nucleus it is concave, okay. So, the inner part we call it as what? The convex part, cis part, and the outer part we call it as concave part. Again, inner part is called as the convex part, and the outer part we call it as what? The concave part. Like that, there are two positions in the Golgi apparatus. To make it more clear, I will draw for you what is the cis and forming phase. Forming phase is one when the Golgi bodies are forming. So, this is the nucleus. The first which is forming, they are convex in nature. Inner side you have to see, not the outer side, ma. Where you have to see the inner side. So, inner side is convex in nature, isn't it? So, it is, the thing is like this. So, inner side is convex in nature. Now, when they are forming new, how it is happening? This part, inner side becomes concave. Again they are forming, this is convex. Again they are forming concave. Again they are forming convex. Again they are forming concave. Like this you can find the Golgi bodies are formed. They are having two phases. One is the convex phase, we call it as the cis phase. forming phase, and the concave phase, which call it as trans phase or the maturing phase. Like this you can find what is formed. Golgi bodies are formed from the endoplasmic reticulum, and these Golgi bodies are helping in what? Secretion. They are called as the secretory unit. They are helping in packaging materials from the nucleus. The things are being taken and it is being transported to different parts. Okay. So, that is what the performance of what? This Golgi apparatus. So, they are helping in secreting substances as well as they are acting as packaging materials, transferring materials from the nucleus. They are taking and it is the things, proteins, whatever it is, it's been transferred to the other parts of the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay. So, that is the function of what? This Golgi bodies. So, endoplasmic reticulum I told you, rough endoplasmic reticulum protein synthesis, smooth endoplasmic reticulum they are helping in what? They are helping in fat synthesis, that is lipid synthesis, as well as endoplasmic reticulum. To some extent they also provide a framework to the cells. They give a shape to the, especially to the animal cell, because cell wall is absent, right. Golgi apparatus, they are helping in secretion as well as they are helping in packing of materials. The next point what we are going to discuss is your lysosomes. So, lysosomes, where from it is formed? So, the round structures you can find, vesicles in the Golgi apparatus, that is later transformed, matured into, these vesicles are later matured into what? Lysosomes. Some of them becomes lysosomes. So, in the lysosome what will be present? Listen, lysosomes are called as you can find it as suicidal bags of the cell. What they are, we are calling suicidal bags. So, endoplasmic reticulum is called as the skeletal system of the cell, and Golgi apparatus is called as the secretory unit of the cells, and lysosomes are called as suicidal bags of the cell. So, what do you mean by the term suicidal bags? Listen, they are membrane bound vesicle structure formed by the process of packaging in what? Golgi apparatus. So, from the Golgi apparatus only the vesicles are transferred and they are forming what? This lysosomes. These lysosomes, when you are seeing inside the lysosome, there are huge amount of enzyme, and these enzymes are having digestive property. What is the property? Digestive, means they are having hydrolytic, means they will digest the things in water very easily. Whatever is present, whether it is protein or whether it is fat or whether any materials, can be easily digested because they contain enzymes which is having what? Digestive property. Okay. So, what are the enzymes which are present? Hydrolases, lipases, lipase digesting, protein digesting, carbohydrates digesting, water digesting enzymes are all present where? In this lysosomes. So, what they do is that, imagine this is a cell and this is a lysosome. Okay. So, some germ has entered into my cell. Okay. So, one germ has entered into my cell. Now, if this germ has entered into my cell, means my white blood cells couldn't function properly. Maybe that is why this they couldn't attack them. So, the germ has entered into my cell. Now, what my cell will do is that if this germ is growing here, they start to multiply, they can spread to the other cells, isn't it? So, what this lysosome will do? The lysosome, when they are detecting that some foreign body has entered into the cell, they will just study the composition of the foreign body and they will put what? They will put the digestive enzyme onto the cells. They will release the digestive enzyme. When this digestive enzyme is released, what will happen? The germ will be killed, or any toxin has entered into my body also. In the cell it has entered, means they will release these digestive substances, and these digestive substances are capable, means it's good. What they will do? They will kill, they will neutralize this germ or the toxic produced by the germ. And if this toxin is so much dangerous, sometimes what will happen is that after releasing, the cells itself will die. What happens to the cell? Because it is digestive, so that the cell will itself, proteases, lipases, everything is present, right? So, everything will be digested. So, when everything is digested, the cell itself will die. But whether this death is good or not, yes, they are committing suicide so that the other cells are protected. It is not moving on to the other cells. So, that is the function of what? This lysosomes. They are helping as suicidal bags, helping in digesting substances, and especially when you are seeing for foreign bodies and all, they are playing a major role. Okay. Other than that, lysosomes are also helping whenever there is need for some digestive properties, something has to be digested inside the cell. these enzymes are released in minute quantities which helps in digesting the same. Okay. So, that is regarding your lysosome. Next, last one what we are going to discuss for today is vacuoles. Okay. So, what is a vacuole? Vacuole, when you are seeing, it's somewhat a spherical structure, big or small, present in both plants as well as animal cell, isn't it? So, so when you are seeing this is a plant cell, it is a vacuole, a bigger one. Small vacuoles are also present. Now, when you are seeing an animal cell also where vacuoles are present, cannot find it out. Let me see where the vacuoles has been given here. It's not given. Anyhow, vacuoles are also present where in the animal cells, but very small in nature. Okay. So, this vacuoles, when you are seeing, they are. So, this is a plant cell having a vacuole. This vacuole is having a covering. The covering of the vacuole, we call it as the tonoplast, and this vacuole is playing a major role in controlling the water osmoregulation. They are playing a major role in what? Osmoregulation. Water content, how much it has to be, that is being regulated by whom? This vacuole. Okay. Or vacuoles are playing a major role for the same. As well as this vacuole are having some substances like you can find in amoeba and all, this food vacuoles and all will be present where the food is being stored, it's being kept, as well as you can find excretory functions when you are seeing contractile vacuole and parameciums and all. What they do is that excretory substances from here, all nitrogenous waste and all will be moving into this vacuole. This vacuole will move out and there they will go and burst and all the waste will be released out. Like that they are helping what? They are containing water, they are containing sap, means nutritive material, along with it excretory products are present. So, that all are taken and it's been taken out of the cell and it is being cleared, okay, from the cell, which is not needed, excess anything is present. Vacuole is bound by a single membrane, we call it as what? The tonoplast. Amoeba, there is a contractile vacuole which I told you, they are helping in what? Excretion. So, substances, nitrogenous waste along with water, they are mixed, they move to the surface of the cell membrane and then they release. Okay. Many cells, when you are seeing, especially in the protist, you know, protista, they are having what? Food vacuoles, and this food vacuoles are helping in what? Engulfing the food particles, digesting it, and the nutrients are used by the animal, the protist. So, vacuoles are playing a major role because you know it's a unicellular animal. So, digestion is being carried out by a single cell. So, there this vacuole play a major role in the digestion process. The vacuole we call it as what? The food vacuole. With this we are stopping for today. Hope it's clear. Next class we will be discussing about mitochondria, thereafter plastids, many are present, any nucleus and all. Fine. So, that's all for today. Thank you.